Long before cities were fully paved and factories were powered by electricity, there lived a boy named Jonathan Mercer. He was born in a small industrial town in northern England, near coal mines and textile factories. His family's home was a narrow brick structure, barely shielding them from cold winds and rain. His father worked as a coal miner, descending into dark shafts for long hours with minimal pay. His mother washed clothes for local merchants, her hands always cracked and raw. Money was never enough, and life felt like a struggle that had no end. Jonathan grew up observing the world carefully. Even as a child, he noticed inefficiencies everywhere. Coal was transported from mines to factories using old carts and poorly maintained horses. Textiles were delivered by slow carts, often spoiled or damaged. Merchants argued over delays, workers labored endlessly, and families waited weeks for supplies. Everything moved, but nothing moved efficiently. From the age of 10, Jonathan began helping his father at the mine and his mother with her laundry work. He learned the value of labor, patience, and observation. Unlike other children, he did not complain about hard work. Instead, he studied how things moved, how people worked, and where the bottlenecks existed. One day, a shipment of coal meant for a nearby textile factory was delayed by several days due to a broken cart and a flooded road. The factory halted operations, workers lost wages, and merchants cursed their luck. Jonathan, watching quietly, realized the problem was not the coal, the cart, or the rain. It was poor logistics. No one coordinated the movement of goods properly. Everyone blamed luck, but the solution was organization. He worked wherever he could. He delivered goods, helped local merchants, and even assisted in small workshops. While earning little, he studied trade, transport, and patterns of delays. He sketched maps, noted travel times, and calculated routes on scraps of paper. His mind was always working. He began imagining a system where goods could move smoothly, from mines to factories, from factories to markets, without loss, without delay. At 17, Jonathan saw an opportunity. The town's first small railway line had begun operating, but scheduling was chaotic. Carriages were mismanaged, and merchants constantly lost goods. Jonathan approached a small shipping company that used the railway to transport coal and textiles. He offered a simple plan. He would organize shipments, schedule carriages efficiently, and ensure goods arrived on time. The manager laughed at the boy, calling him inexperienced, but the company was desperate, and they agreed to let him try on a trial basis. Jonathan worked tirelessly. He studied every train departure, every carriage assignment, every delay that had occurred in the past months. He spoke with engineers, conductors, and dock workers, learning the bottlenecks firsthand. He reorganized loading schedules, prioritized urgent shipments, and created a system to track every crate. Within weeks, deliveries improved significantly. Merchants were pleased, and the company began paying Jonathan a small fee for his efforts. Encouraged, Jonathan reinvested every penny he earned. He rented a small warehouse near the station and began storing goods for merchants, keeping detailed records of each item. He coordinated with train operators to ensure his stored goods were loaded on time. His attention to detail and reliability gained him a reputation. Merchants trusted Jonathan Mercer with their valuable shipments. Challenges were constant. Rivals accused him of cheating. Older managers mocked his youth. And trains were still prone to accidents and delays. At times, he lost shipments due to circumstances beyond his control. Once, a flood destroyed part of his warehouse, soaking coal and textiles alike. Many would have given up. Jonathan, however, remembered the hunger, the poverty, the helplessness of his childhood. He refused to quit. He began innovating. He built stronger storage facilities, reinforced roofs, and introduced simple mechanical systems to move heavy goods more efficiently. He trained workers in precision, patience, and accountability. He introduced early forms of documentation, ledgers, and tracking charts. Each failure became a lesson. Each delay became an opportunity to improve the system. By the age of 25, Jonathan controlled several warehouses and coordinated multiple train lines. He began leasing carriages and engines to ensure he had partial control over the transport. His business model was simple but revolutionary: reliable storage, precise scheduling, and trustworthy handling. Factories and merchants preferred his services because they minimized loss and maximized efficiency. Jonathan Mercer was no longer a boy delivering crates. He was a central figure in trade. Word of his success reached investors. Jonathan used the funds to expand into other towns, building warehouses strategically along railway lines. He created hubs that connected multiple factories, markets, and ports. Merchants could now ship goods from mines to markets without worrying about delays. Jonathan's system created efficiency where there had been chaos. Yet success did not make Jonathan arrogant. He lived modestly, reinvesting profits and ensuring workers were treated fairly. He provided housing near warehouses, believing that stability improved loyalty and productivity. His warehouses became centers of opportunity for young men and women, many of whom had grown up poor like him. He trained them in logistics, patience, and discipline. Economic downturns came, as they always did. Markets fluctuated, shipments slowed, and competitors tried to undercut him. Jonathan survived because he diversified. He handled coal, textiles, agricultural produce, and manufactured goods. He created redundancies in routes to prevent complete failures. He studied weather, seasons, and demand patterns, predicting delays before they happened. By the time Jonathan reached his 40s, he had established an international presence. He coordinated shipments in England and had begun expanding to the United States, where trade was growing rapidly, but chaos still ruled. He started with small warehouses and a few leased freight cars in American ports. Initially, he faced skepticism. Rival firms tried to push him out. Authorities questioned his operations. But Jonathan's reputation for reliability preceded him. Merchants trusted him, and soon contracts expanded. He replicated his system in the U.S. He introduced warehouses along railway lines, connected ports to inland markets, and trained a workforce in his methodology. He coordinated with multiple railway companies to schedule carriages efficiently. His approach reduced delays, minimized loss, and maximized profits for clients. Within a decade, Jonathan Mercer had built one of the most trusted logistics networks on both sides of the Atlantic. Despite wealth, Jonathan remained disciplined. He avoided extravagance, believing that focus and clarity were weakened by luxury. He invested in his workers, ensuring they had good wages, safe working conditions, and training opportunities. His leadership was admired because it combined discipline, integrity, and empathy. Challenges never stopped. Fires destroyed warehouses, storms delayed shipments, and competitors attempted sabotage. At times, entire shipments were lost. Yet, Jonathan adapted. He improved infrastructure, created backup systems, and introduced safety protocols. His business grew not by luck, but by careful planning and relentless problem-solving. In later years, Jonathan focused on mentoring. He taught young managers that success was built on observation, not brute force. Notice where things break, he said. Notice what people complain about. Solve those problems, and wealth follows. He emphasized honesty, discipline, and patience. Jonathan Mercer passed away quietly, leaving behind warehouses, freight cars, systems, and an international logistics network that continued to operate long after him. His legacy was not just wealth, but opportunity, reliability, and trust. Young men and women who had worked under him remembered his lessons. Opportunity exists in chaos. Patience beats impulse, and discipline creates empires. His life proves that greatness is not always about invention or brute strength. Sometimes, it is about seeing inefficiencies, understanding processes, and solving problems consistently. He began life poor, watching others profit while he struggled. He ended life wealthy, respected, and remembered, not for arrogance or wealth alone, but for creating systems that improved the lives of thousands. Jonathan Mercer's story reminds us that true success comes from observation, intelligence, and persistent problem-solving. From a boy carrying crates to a man controlling transatlantic logistics, he showed that vision, courage, and discipline can overcome poverty, hardship, and skepticism. If you want more Larssen-inspired motivational stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.